by the way.
I couldn't feel any better, honestly. I'm so happy. 3 rounds, that's a long time in the cage, 15 whole minutes.
Was there any part of you that kind of wanted to have a performance like that you could show people, hey, I can go 3 rounds and still win and have a great performance?
Yeah, it felt really good to be able to go all 3 rounds and win a decision. I haven't always been on the positive end of decisions when it does go the distance, so it felt so good. Even going into the judges' scorecards, I felt like I had done enough to win. I was very surprised, actually, that it was a split decision, considering how I was feeling in the cage, but I was so, so happy.
So was there any fear when you started hearing that split decision, like, oh my gosh, here I go again with a decision?
Yeah, there's always a little bit of a fear when it's a split, when you don't finish the fight.
Was there any discussion with the two of you afterwards? Any words you guys exchanged?
Let me tell you, I've never saw an opponent more often during fight week than I'd seen Jin. I saw her absolutely everywhere. I feel like we became friends by the time we walked into the cage against each other. So even though I had never met her prior to this week, but I saw her like at the apex at every turn. I'd see her like all over the venue walking around. So it was very interesting. And we were just kind of laughing about how often we had seen each other during the fight week.
Do you think you guys will ever train together? I know there's friendships that sometimes happen after fights like that. Was there any discussion of that, or do you think that could possibly happen?
I don't know if that would happen. She seems like a really great person, and she seems like a lot of fun. I have a tendency of becoming friends with people that I've fought, so it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I'm friendly, she's friendly, and why not? But yeah.
You were previously on a pay-per-view card. Now you're back here at Apex. Are you hoping to kind of get back on a pay-per-view card for your next one, or do you kind of like these smaller Apex cards?
I would prefer to be in front of a crowd. I'd prefer to be on the pay-per-view cards. I'd prefer to be on the main cards, and soon enough, I'd prefer to be the main events. I'm going to work my way and earn my right to doing those things.
And I guess the most important question I have for you is, you've been in the arms of Joe Rogan, you've been in the arms of Michael Bisping. Whose embrace is better?
Joe's was way better. So even though both of them, I forced it upon them, neither of them had an option, but yes.
Thank you.
Hey, Vanessa.
What's up?
There was some talk about Jen trying to get some revenge for Sam Hughes.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, how does that feel to shut them both out?
Yes, that actually feels amazing. So I did hear a lot of the talk of Sam mentioning my name in some of her interviews, and that's okay. Rightfully so, and probably something fairly significant that had happened, but it feels really good to get this victory.
How was the move back down to strawweight?
I've never left strawweight, so I went up to flyweight as an opportunity to set my foot into the door, and I do belong at strawweight. This is my division, and I do hope that I'm continuing to prove that.
And is this your second fight as a full-time fighter?
Yes, it is! Retired, baby!
How does that feel?
It feels absolutely amazing to be able to put all of my focus, all of my energy into the sport that I love so very much, which is UFC, which is MMA, which is being inside of that octagon and being a part of the sport in general. So this is my passion, and I'm so honored to be able to continue to put on good performances and put my whole heart into everything that I'm doing.
And finally for me, it's kind of silly, but Crystal Vanessa Demopoulos, is Crystal your first name?
Crystal is my first name officially, yes.
When did you start going by Vanessa?
I've gone by Vanessa my whole life. So yeah, my whole family calls me Vanessa, all of my friends, everyone calls me Vanessa. But my first name is Crystal. So when I have to write my name, I write Crystal, even though people are calling me Vanessa.
Gotcha. Congrats.
Thank you very much.
Since you've been able to kind of focus 100%, how much and how big of the gains have you seen in your skill set change since you've been able to focus 100% on just purely fighting?
I've been able to see leaps and bounds in my fighting compared to previously where my attention was split. So I've always had a lot of energy. I've always been very aggressive. And I always felt like I had skill. But now I'm able to do more things like listen better. You know, I'm able to build a better relationship with my coaches, with my teammates, and have more trust in myself as a professional athlete versus before knowing that I had to split my time and my attention.
So almost like the mental side of things, you were able to release part of the head, so now your head was able to focus 100%. You know, and that's great. Well, you could obviously see the differences out there as well. The commentary talked a lot about Jen. They thought that she was going to maybe try to keep the distance, work her jab. Looked like her jab was a good jab, that she was doing some work. But there was a couple times where she stood in there and engaged with you when you guys were really throwing hands and throwing big fists. Were you surprised that she decided to take some of those moments and stand in there and bang with you?
Actually, I was anticipating her to be more of a striker, or a counter fighter. Yep. So it was right on cue. The expectation of her waiting for me to engage, for her to be able to start swinging. So we kind of anticipated her waiting for me to start the engagement. But I knew that she'd be more of a gamer as well. Yeah, she's a tough cookie.
It looked like in the third round you were able to make more attempts or taking her down, and you were able to hold her up against the fence and had some great works with the knees. Was that partly because it seemed like, as in the third, you wanted to make sure you secured that round by getting the control time, or did she surprise you with her takedown defense when you made like a couple attempts early on in the fight?
Yeah, it's known that she's a decent wrestler. It's known that I'm a very good jiu-jitsu player. So I knew that she was not going to want to take it to the ground. I anticipated her having very good offensive wrestling, and we worked that this camp. And then seeing that I was more dominant on the clinch game, I listened to my coaches in between the rounds telling me what to do, and just followed the game plan.
Nice. Well, congrats on the victory. And this is maybe kind of silly. I noticed when you guys were talking about how you jumped in the arms of Rogan, you jumped in the arms of Bisping.
Yes.
Rogan supported you. Bisping didn't.
He did not.
But it reminded me when I've seen some of your Instagram vids where you've held on to the pole.
The pole with one
core
arm.
work. It was rock solid. So, I mean, you didn't even falter. But I didn't know if you noticed the difference when Mike didn't grab you, because you stayed solid.
Yes.
So.
That was a part of the game plan. I kind of knew Bisping was not going to hold me up.
That's awesome.
It's a part of his personality.
Yeah, very.
Yeah, I didn't take it personal.
Congrats again on the victory.
Thank you very much.